Well, you are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. I love that people get all antsy with me when I'm like 30 seconds late. I mean, dude, calm down. I see in the chat there, will it ever start? Yes, we have. I'm here. I'm live. I wasn't even late at that point, dude. Come on. You know we need to leave you hanging a little bit to build up that enthusiasm for the stream. So I got you. Don't worry. I got you. Plenty to go through tonight. And as always, we want you guys to lead the conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And much love to you all this evening. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen Adam on top of the league earlier on. He was discussing, the Chelsea situation. I've given my take on that on the channel as well. So if you do get a chance, please do check that one out. Bro, you're lost. You don't care about LFC. Yeah, no, I don't, mate. I've just dedicated my life to a Liverpool channel, and my whole world revolves around Liverpool and has done for my entire life. But, okay, I don't care about Liverpool. The no-mark Johnny Nobody in the chat who doesn't know me from Adam and, quite frankly, who's a pussy hiding behind a fake name, he knows all about me. Just admit it. You're jealous. It's okay. I get it. You're too lazy to get up off your arse and do something for yourself. That's all right. I'm here to show you what's possible. But God, that's just a bit of a sweeping statement to start out with, isn't it? You don't care about Liverpool. Really? I think I've shown my credentials over the years. I'm first one out here with breaking stories a lot of the time. Most watched Liverpool fan on the planet, but hey, I tell you what, if I don't care, I'm doing a pretty damn good job of pretending. So there we go. Look, again, just remember one thing, mate. Nobody drags you here to watch your comment. You're here of your own accord. And you're obviously here for a reason. And that's either because, well, maybe you have a rival channel that, you wish you were as big as us. Maybe you're just an asshole who just loves to come in and troll people. Or maybe Mammy hasn't tucked you in yet. But either way, it's okay. I understand it. I'm not here to judge you. I only care for broccoli. But that's a fact. That's a fact. Do you know what? I won't lie. The other night I was going through finding as many broccoli gifs and stuff as I could. And there's some really funny ones out there. You wouldn't ever would have thought that, looking into the old broccoli world. But yeah, apparently I'm not the only one who has beef with broccoli. And I don't mean beef with broccoli in the sense of on the same plate. I mean, I don't like broccoli. Right, so look, we've a lot to get through tonight, my friends. We're going to be talking about what I think is a bit of a crazy story about Alfonso Davies, but we'll bring it to you, of course. We're going to be speaking about he who shall not be mentioned, which is Kylian Mbappe. I didn't say it. We're going to be talking about the latest situations around Liverpool's other recruitment targets. We'll be asking you guys for your thoughts on Liverpool's leaked 2024-25 shirt. We'll be talking about the UEFA football that's been released for the Euros, which, if you haven't seen it, is full of technology, but is also 150 quid. Yeah, 150 quid for a football. And here was me moaning about the 200 quid for the Skechers boots. Little did I know Adidas were bringing out £150 football. Craig, I'll sell my car for Alfonso Davies. I still, dude, I don't know what you drive, but even if it's a roller, I don't think we can afford it, mate. Even if I was to sell my Renault and you were to sell your car, I think we'd probably still come up a little bit short. I'll cry so much if Fozzie leaves us. Look, Paul, I think you will lose Alfonso Davies, but I don't think we're going to be the perpetrators, mate. The piece that I read earlier on Alfonso Davies and that situation very much suggested that he has his eyes firmly fixed on the Santiago Bernabeu and a move to Real Madrid. And look, Madrid have been trying to change their tact a little bit. We've spoken about this on the channel. You look at the likes of Jude Bellingham, Eduardo Camavinga, Arlian Tchouameni, Rodrigo, Vinny Jr. They're looking to rebuild and they're looking to bring through younger talents, which, again, I guess kind of leads me to the Mbappe talk, which I'll move on to in a little bit. The more I think about this situation with Kylian Mbappe, the more I'm convinced that Liverpool are his best option at this point. But there is, as I said, lots to get through. I will talk about Alfonso Davies in more detail. I just want to wait for the chat to fill up a little bit like I always do for the first few minutes. 150 quid ball better be able to kick itself. I better be able to do. I was thinking something else, but that's maybe not for this hour of the day. Look, there are cheaper versions of the ball. The Adidas website already has it listed, but yeah, if you want the match ball, €150. I think I still have an image of it here. Actually, where are we? Is it that one? Yeah, there we go. That's the new UEFA 2024 ball that will be used during the Euros in the summer. It's got lots of technology in it. It's got a microchip in the middle of it that will send data back to the analysts and those who need it. Obviously communicate with the referees and stuff as well. But apparently those colours and those little segments on the ball are supposed to have something to do with the stadiums going to be used for the Euro, something like that. But that's what the ball looks like anyway. Hello, you ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. Sorry I'm late, just got out of class. Enjoyed our threesome last night with JC. Yeah, our Discord moderator group got a little bit weird last night. We ended up in a bit of a gif off on there, and we were just thrown in one gif after another. And JC always brings it back to dicks. Always. No matter what happens, JC brings it back to penises somehow. I don't know why the piggy noise just came from there, but the way apparently I'm snorting now on stream, that's what I'm doing. So, right, which one do we want to start with? You're my father figure. Oh, God, you need a better father figure. Now, look, I'm a good role model. I can tell you what, I'll be your father figure, Marcus, but you don't want your dietary information from me, because obviously, I'm not one to be listening to for that. Craig, match balls are all €150. Match ball in Ireland costs that much. Oh, I know, Ella. I know, my friend. I know. I remember being over in Florida and going into the Adidas outlet store and spotting the Champions League ball. And I said to Sabrina, I might just grab this ball here, Sabrina. It's a nice ball and it looked nice on the shelf at home. So I went up to the dude behind the counter and I said, hello, Mr. Adidas salesman. What's the story on that Champions League ball? How much is that? Thinking 30, 35 quid. $150 was the answer. So yeah, it isn't a new thing, Ella. It's just another money grab, another disgusting bit of greed from the football industry. When do Liverpool start to look at a replacement for Robbo? Said Soldier under command. So look, I think you've probably led me into speaking about Alfonso Davies, mate. So let's have the talk. So an article that came out today said Liverpool are reportedly eyeing a move for Bayern Munich and Canada defender Alfonso Davies. So 90 Min, again, are the ones credited with this story. They've said that Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City and Real Madrid, I think, are the clubs listed with interest in the 23-year-old. They say he's won 13 major honours, Champions League since joining the Bundesliga champions in 2018. So look, I don't think anybody in this chat now would say no to Alfonso Davies. I'm taking it as a given that everybody would take him at the football club. But I can't see it happening. It's not an FSG Jurgen Klopp type signing, but it very much does seem to me like a Real Madrid type signing. So we did come to the conclusion last night, and we ran a poll on it, that we probably do need to revisit the backup left-back situation, particularly if we're looking at it with a view to a long-term successor to Andy Robertson, because we don't really think Costas is that guy. Nobody in the chat really thought Costas was that guy. So the natural conversation on the left-back is one that we probably should be having. I just really don't. I'm going to ask a poll to think, do you think it's possible? Because I really don't think Alfonso Davies is possible, but let's ask anyway. Right, so I'm going to say, is Davies realistic for Liverpool? Yes or no? Easiest question to ask, I think. And by the way, can we say, all of us at Anfield Agenda, thank you. It is an international break. Normally, we expect these streams to die on their arse. But you guys have been showing up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, over 1,000 in the live chat, each and every stream. And it hasn't gone unnoticed, not just by us, but by the industry in general. We're constantly being messaged by people, and they're all lovely comments. But it's not about the content we make. It's not about the graphics. It's about you guys. You guys need to give yourselves a big pat on the back, because it isn't unnoticed in the industry that our chat's different, that our community's different, that people are more engaging and there's less bitterness and less toxicity. And it's something I'm immensely proud of. So again, big up to all of you for that, because, you know, we can only talk. We can only do this stuff. You're the heartbeat of the channel. What have we got? Jack said, Costas is pretty bad, to be honest. Always going backwards. This is FIFA talk, this. Again, mate, people come in and get angry at me. I don't make these stories. I don't write these stories. I'm not for 1 second coming on here telling you Alfonso Davies is signing for Liverpool. What I do is I back up every topic we talk about with a corresponding story that makes us have this conversation. So if you see an Anfield Agenda stream title as an example, think of it as a jumping off point for a conversation, because that's what we try to do with it. If there's something that I know, trust me, I will say to you, I've been told this. But for the likes of the nightly streams, the news videos and stuff like that, we correspond them with stories, so we're not just making it up. Also, Colin, thank you, buddy, for gifting 2 Anfield Agenda memberships. Very kind of you indeed. They've gone to Martin Pickering and to LW Joe 10. Thank you for that, Colin. And thank you to Mark for giving me a little nudge to remember to read that one out. Where are we? There we go. Nuri is... Where's that? Nuri is cheaper and Premier League proven. Yeah, and look, I will move on to speak about Wolves' Ait Nuri in a little bit, because you're right, we've been strongly linked with him. And that, to me, seems a far more realistic Liverpool-type signing. I think there's far more credibility around the idea of Liverpool looking at Ait Nuri as an alternative or as an option. I think definitely that's more achievable. We've the best fans in the world, said Dr. D. Roy Bramwell. Jemba said, oh, got flashbacks there of those days at United when he was there. I had a good laugh at Eric Jemba then. We're here for you, lad, always. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. We're a bigger club than Bayern. It's just the money if we have to give to it. Well, look, to be fair, I think Bayern are a pretty big club. A historic club, a successful club, and a massive brand as well in world football. But it feels like Alfonso Davies wants Real Madrid, from what I've read. And look, can you blame him? Because if you're a young footballer now, and he's 23 years of age, and obviously he's already achieved a lot of stuff in the Bundesliga with Bayern, obviously had some international success as well with Canada qualifying for tournaments, and you can understand how he looks at what's going on at Real Madrid and sees, as I've mentioned before, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Bellingham. And he thinks, right, if they're going to refresh the full-back positions and they're looking for a left-back, which they are, and a right-back, which they are, and we've mentioned they've looked at Trent and Reece James as well, I can understand how it's an exciting prospect to a young footballer like that. Moose9009 said, call me crazy, but I'm optimistic we beat City and win the league, barring no big injuries. I'm here for that, mate. I am definitely here for that. Do I have your same optimism about the City game? I'm trying to get there. Yeah, I'm trying my best to get there, but I'm not quite there yet. How do you think Bayern will do in the Premier League? Do you know what? Probably really well, because their financial strength would increase even more. There's a lot to like about German football in general. Particularly, one of the biggest credits I could give to German football is it feels more about the fans in Germany than I think it does in England. You've got the 50+1 rule, of course, but I remember reading an article from, I don't know if it was one of the Bayern executives, and they spoke about the fact that, yeah, they could charge more for season tickets and stuff, but they don't really need to. And that's the first time I remember a football executive kind of speaking about the fans, you know, and there's something really nice about that. Like, you know, I know there's a lot of people in our audience who have gone to games around Europe, and to the best of my knowledge, I think if you buy a ticket to a football game in the Bundesliga, you get your public transport and stuff included in that, and it just seems to be set up far more for a fan experience. You know, Premier League, it's getting expensive. You know, tickets are getting harder to come by, and when you're there, it feels like obviously they want to empty your pockets and empty your wallet. Rachel has gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. You're very kind, Rachel, doing this consistently, my friend. Thank you so much. They've gone to Moose. They've gone to, excuse me if I mispronounce this, Thoity, the Bay TV, Mido, and Claire Colburn. Very kind of you, Rachel. Thank you. So a little bit on Lucho before I move on to speak about more transfer talk and give you guys another look at the leaked shirt. So according to a Colombian journalist who also is based in Italy as well, Liverpool have taken a lot of precautions with Lucho's revisit back to Colombia. So obviously he's over there now on international duty, but he also, of course, caught up with his father who has been released and is now back with his family. And of course, we're all over the moon about that. But this piece said the winger was reunited with his father for the first time since returning to safety on Tuesday in Barranquilla and the president of the country's football federation. So he said that Liverpool have employed former Scotland Yard agents, or not even former, sorry, it says the Anfield Chiefs have enlisted the help of Scotland Yard agents on top of already existent heavy local police presence for Lucho while he's back over there to make sure, obviously, that that nothing untoward would happen. So, again, big love to Liverpool for that one, for looking after the player and his family, and obviously making sure that that security is beefed up in what is a very delicate situation. So, yeah, well done to the club on that one. Thoughts on Mbappe, said Zacy26. Keep up the good work, Craig. But did you not get the message, Zacy? I don't care about Liverpool. You must have missed the start of the stream, mate. I was outed. Somebody who I don't know who the hell they are seemed to think that I don't know or care about Liverpool. So, yeah. So, sorry you've wasted all your time, everybody. But, you know, that randomer was right, weren't they? No, dude, thank you. And I'll move on to talk about Mbappe now in a moment. Appreciate your super chat. Thank you very much. Questionable links. Very questionable links. But as I've said, it's a conversation point, mate. They're not my stories. If I wrote these stories and people came in and had a pop at me, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? I put my hands up and say, right, you've every right. But I don't make these stories. I'm not the journalist writing them. I'm just bringing them to you guys as a Liverpool fan for discussion. What's this one? I don't think City's defence could handle Liverpool's midfield. Well, look, hopefully City's injuries continue to mount up and they're as weak as possible. I'm being honest. Is the Urban said, did you hear the rumour that Barca want to trade Frenkie de Jong for Lucho? Could be our new number 6 and Mbappe our number 7. I haven't. No, mate, I haven't. I don't know how I'd feel about that one. I don't think that's possible because if you're looking at Mbappe and we're talking about Mbappe, I don't think we can exist in a world where we have Mbappe and Salah in the same team because I don't think we could afford it. I think the conversation around Mbappe only really comes into play if Mo moves on. But no, it didn't. That's an interesting link. Where does it come from, if you don't mind me asking? Chelsea should be dropped to the lowest league. Oh, I'll move on to speak about that in a while, Colin. Don't worry, mate. So look, on the Mbappe stuff. So the outlets that have been reporting about Liverpool's interest in Kylian Mbappe they're pretty well established outlets. Like you can go back as far as L'Equipe, who have been speaking about Liverpool's long-standing interest in Kylian Mbappe. So today, though, it's AS, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, are a Spanish publication. They say Liverpool have reportedly reactivated their interest in Kylian Mbappe. The report goes on to say that Real Madrid will have to offer around €100 million as a signing bonus since Mbappe already has more important offers on the table. I think that must be a translation thing. The report goes on to claim that Mbappe's wage demands and the fact that he wants to operate on the left wing, a position currently occupied by Vinicius Jr., are also problems. Now, I dare say that could be an issue at Liverpool as well. Like, I still think the only way Mbappe even possibly ends up at Liverpool is if Mo doesn't extend or if Liverpool look to sell. But can I see a situation where that happens, Mo leaves, Mbappe comes in, and then gets pushed to the left? Yeah, I think I can see that. I think I could imagine Lucho moving across to the right. I don't think it's the most ridiculous idea in the world that if somebody like Mbappe came in, that we see a player move. Again, we've seen it before with Sadio Mane. When the great man himself, when Mohamed Salah came to the club, Salah took that right hand position and Sadio was shifted across onto the left. And now, after Sadio's time at Liverpool, we think back on him and we think of him as this really good left-sided attacker. So it's not unusual that it happens. So again, I know people keep saying Mbappe will never play for us. Like, I'm not an idiot. I understand it. But he has to play for somebody. And again, 6 years Liverpool have been in contact with Mbappe and his family. 6 years Liverpool have kept that channel open. And if Real Madrid ain't going to pay it, and let's say there's an example, they said Kylian Mbappe wants €100 million signing on bonus. Okay? So let's say we sold Salah for 100 million. There's the signing on bonus. Salah makes £1 million a week. That's been reported by Rami Abbas. So is it such a stretch to think that Mbappe couldn't get £1.5 million if you have Nike involved and image rights and other commercial partnerships, or maybe a small cut of shirt sales or something? I think it probably is possible. I think it probably is achievable. But as I said yesterday, would I be putting money on Mbappe joining Liverpool at the moment? No. But I also wouldn't put money on a guarantee that he 100% doesn't. So it's all up in the air, because there's a lot of stuff at Liverpool at the moment that's up in the air. Namely, what happens with Mohamed Salah after this season? Do Liverpool sell? Do we renegotiate and give him a new deal? Or do we let him run down his contract? And until we know the answer to that very big elephant in the room, the rest of it's all just going to be subjectivity and guesswork. So where's this story I'm looking at here? Okay. Oh, so it's SB Nation. Okay. So I'm just getting a link there for that Frankie de Jong story. Thank you, Mark, for sending me that on, by the way. I think with Mbappe, it's going to be now or never with him coming over in the summer transfer. If Salah wants to roll out, that will be the time to pull the trigger. And that's my point. That's always been my point. Like, we've all said for so long that the idea of somebody coming in to replace Mohamed Salah and replicate Mohamed Salah's output is slim to none. But, very big but, Kylian Mbappe could replicate Mohamed Salah's numbers. He absolutely could. And I think you'd all agree to that. So, it just comes down to two things. Is it the right timing? And will Liverpool commit that much money? And I don't have definitive answers to either of those questions. But I do agree with what our friend there just said. If ever there was a time, if ever there was a possibility, it's now. Signing Mbappe would be a good business deal, said Colin Brooks. I think so. I think it would. Like, he's in his prime. He's coming right into his best years now. Well, every player's different, but in the grand scheme of things, this is considered the time where he'd be coming into his prime. And there's no transfer fee. So sometimes in these things, it's all about timing. And let's wait and see. Is Mbappe a Nike endorsed player? Yes. And again, I said this yesterday, and it has happened before, so I'm not saying these things don't happen, but if you're Nike, do you want to see Kylian Mbappe running around in a white Adidas Real Madrid strip? Well, ideally, no. You'd rather see him in a Nike branded kit. So, again, we're a Nike branded club, so it doesn't take the biggest leap in the world to make that connection. Would love Andre behind Gravenberch and McAllister, Szoboszlai on the right, Mbappe on the left, and Nunez in the middle. That's my dream team, and I'm not waking up, said John Williams. I mean, I'd rather Diaz on the right, Mbappe on the left, and Nunez through the centre, personally, with Szoboszlai on the right side of midfield. left side. I'd like Szoboszlai and McAllister to battle with Gravenberch and Jones for those spots. But look, the big problem we have, the immediate problem we have is January and a defensive midfielder. Mbappe could match Salah's goal numbers, but not his assist numbers. You mean, with all due respect, you've got no way to prove that, nor do I have any way to disprove that. But do you mean that he won't pass the ball? Because Klopp won't allow that. Anybody that plays at Liverpool is a team player. You've got to be. So, I don't know if he'll do Salah's assist numbers. I really don't know. But, and I mean this lovingly, I don't give a shit. As long as we win football games, who scores, who assists, does not matter to me one iota, because I'm a fan of Liverpool Football Club, not a player. So it's about results for me and putting the best team on the pitch. And, you know, dare I say, a team with Kylian Mbappe in it is probably better than a team without Kylian Mbappe in it. Mbappe is the next possible Ballon d'Or winner. I don't think he sees himself collecting that at Liverpool. Why not? Absolutely, why not? Van Dijk should have had a Ballon d'Or at Liverpool, but our vote was split. We've had Ballon d'Or winners at Liverpool previously, or come from Liverpool. Why not? And with all due respect, outside of Real Madrid, who are, look, they are the club for Ballon d'Ors and stuff, who else gives them a better opportunity in Europe to win a Ballon d'Or than Liverpool? Sincerely, I don't know the answer to that. United, historically, but not at the minute. City, well, we all hope they're about to be relegated and thrown out for financial irregularities. Chelsea, well, I'll move on to Chelsea in a moment. Again, I think Liverpool would give him a damn good opportunity. City, and many Ballon d'Or winners have Manchester City had. Come on, how many have they had? Do you know what I mean? Yes, that would be 0. So, why would they have a better option to win Ballon d'Ors than us? And also, they're probably going to be found out for the 115 charges at some point, and they will have to face a reckoning for those 115 charges if found guilty. Again, we have to be realistic and factual in this information, and we all know what City are. You know what City are. I know what City are. And they are not what the world is seeing of Manchester City. So, you know, again, I say, why not Liverpool? And also, look at the coach we have. If you're any player, you can talk Mbappe or anybody else, why the hell wouldn't playing for Jurgen Klopp in the most watched league in the world float your boat? So, you know, maybe I'm biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, but to me, I'll always think of Liverpool as a hugely attractive proposition for any footballer to come and ply their trade. Haaland came third behind Mbappe. Just saying. Yeah, exactly. Didn't win it though. So, there we go. Have I bought Firmino's book? We've bought 2 of them, but I haven't read them because we've been giving them away. I don't know if I want to read it or not. You know, because I have my own memories of Bobby, and they're very positive because I idolise him. I don't know if I want to find out some stuff that, I don't know if it will or won't taint that vision, but yeah, I love him, so I want to leave it as it is. Right, I want to move on to talk about shirts. So let me get this up. I'll bring up the full screen image first. So here we have a possible leaked image of Liverpool's 2024-25 shirt. The leaked image comes from Footy Headlines, who are very, very good at these type of things and get a lot of this stuff right. So I look at this shirt and I can't lie to you. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'll bring it up on the side there so you can see it. Here's why I don't like it. The detail isn't great. I love a round neck. Big fan of a round neck in a shirt. But the pinstriping doesn't need to stop. It needs to go all the way through. It feels like that's a shirt that someone's just thrown a sticker on the top of it. And a couple of other things I'm not sure about. I don't know if the yellow, the red and the white together is too much. I don't know if it has enough balance. But here's one for you. You see on the crest that we have on Liverpool shirts these days, I personally would love to see them remove the LFC underneath it and just have the Liver Bird on there. Everybody will immediately know what that is. I don't think you need to have LFC written on it. I think the Liver Bird with the Nike tick would be far more impactful. And also with these things, that's a mock-up image. But until you see the real product, until you see the detail maybe in the red, the absolute tones of the shirt, and the rest of the kit as well, very importantly, because if I'm being really honest, if you go back and watch when we did the reveal of the green and white shirt for this season, the away shirt, I wasn't sold on it. I didn't like it. But when I seen it as a kit, when I seen it all together, I thought it looked very smart. So my initial instincts on this jersey are that I'm not a fan. I feel like it's halfway where they wanted to get with it. I'm all for pinstripe. I think we all have a soft spot at Liverpool for pinstripe shirts. But this isn't it for me. I think I'm going to read through your comments now and see how you guys feel about it. And I'll leave it up on screen while I do it. Cheap looking, said Colin. I hate it, said LFC Edits. 3 out of 10, said Jack Woolstenholme. Trying to replicate the 1920 kit, said Dylan. Which I totally understand, mate. I mean, I see where you went with that one, and I think you're probably spot on. Remove the name like United have done. Have they? I don't pay any attention to their shirts, so I've got no idea what they do or don't have on them. 100% go back to the 70s and 80s style of crest, said David Mullen. The shirt looks cheap. Nike don't give a feather about our designs. 6 out of 10 for Sean. It's a combination of the 2020 kit and this season's kit, said Terry. Full 4 out of 10 is generous for AAA. It's not good, said Jordan. I love it, said Alexan. Yellow pinstripes, it's a no-no. It's not yellow pinstripes. It's white pinstripes. I think the yellow pinstripes would have been better, but that's white pinstripe. What City weaknesses did you see in the Chelsea game? I promise you, mate, I'll come back to your comment there in 2 seconds and give you a proper answer. Daz said 5 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for Jeremy. Bring back Adidas, said Declan Talbot. Would look nicer if the standard charter was white. Yeah, I did think about that as well. I just feel with the pinstripe stopping dead, it just feels a bit... I don't know, it feels like maybe the logo was an afterthought that they just stuck over the top of it, the standard chartered logo or something. Right, so I'm going to move this off the screen and get back to this gentleman's super chat, which I promised I would. So he said, what City weaknesses did you see in the Chelsea game? I guess defence. I do think that Pochettino's idea of making it an end-to-end, chaotic, attack-filled game breaks City structure. City love to move chess pieces around, be very detailed and very regimented in the movements of their players and how they move the ball around. And I said this the other day, that game, that 4-4 between Chelsea and Manchester City very much reminded me of an early Jurgen Klopp era game against Manchester City where it was like, we're going to outscore you and we just go for it. And I think that's probably the best tactic. It's a dangerous one because, you know, you're going up against a very good team with really high caliber players, but I think Pochettino and the way Chelsea went is the right way. So yes, I think defensively they can be gotten at. Midfield are pretty strong, especially in the holding midfield position. So yeah, I think it's just reaffirmed. What was the gentleman's name again? Jurgen. I think it's just reaffirmed what I've always believed about this City team, is that they're not as infallible as previous incarnations of a Pep Guardiola Manchester City team. Is Ederson going to be out against us? As of right now, I don't know the answer. He is not in the Brazil squad because of, I think, a foot injury, if my memory's right. How long that carries over for, I don't know. So I don't want to say to you he will be in or out, because at this moment I don't know the answer. I think Man City are a busted flush, too open and easy to play against, said Gerard Phelan. Did you see that there was a report today that Manchester City have announced record revenues again of over £700 million for the latest set of accounts? There's a couple of things that don't add up to me with the whole Man City thing. We've all seen the 20 quid and really cheap tickets that they've constantly tried to dish out to local colleges and people to try and get them into the stadium. We've also seen when they win shit that nobody goes out into the streets to celebrate because, let's be honest, they don't really have the fan base. The TV revenues and the prize money I totally get. You know, they won the Champions League, they won the Premier League. With that comes prize money, TV revenue. I get all of that stuff. But I'm going to be really honest. And if this comes back to haunt me, so be it. I think Manchester City are one big Ponzi scheme, for want of a better phrase. Nothing adds up to me. Now, this is just my opinion. I'm not stating this as a fact. I'm giving you one guy's opinion. It all feels pumped up, inflated, manipulated, and bullshit. Much like the boxing event that we see in Saudi, where you've got Tyson Fury fighting Francis Ngannou, and everybody who's anybody's there. Ronaldo, Tyson, all the former greats. But they're not there for the good of their health. They're there because they're being fucking paid to be there. And nobody ever seems to ask the question, how can all these people constantly be paid for stuff? People paid to talk about the Qatar World Cup. People paid to positively post about everything. But yet the numbers, if you really dig down to them, won't add up as a business. Like I've said many times, when you remove jeopardy, when you remove the need to actually make a profit, anybody can do anything. It doesn't take a fucking genius to spend a country's money. But it's why I don't think it's a fair level playing field when you've got petrodollars or when you've got nations' wealth or sovereign funds behind football clubs. It looks grubby. So today, to tie this all together, today we've seen Chelsea release a statement after The Guardian did some investigative journalism with a European body of journalists and seemingly uncovered some potentially dodgy payments in the Roman Abramovich era. And immediately, and I'll read out Chelsea's statement to you. 1 second, I'll read out their club draft on this so I can give you their exact wording because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. Chelsea came out with this statement. These allegations predate the club's current ownership. They're based on documents which the club has not been shown and do not relate to any individual who's presently at the club. So what? Doesn't change anything. Just because Bowley's now the latest billionaire owner in Chelsea, does it mean that the success that that club has built on hasn't been on shaky foundations or dodgy financials? So you might say that the club these days are owned by somebody else, but so what? We don't give a fuck. The football world don't care. If you have got all this success, and I think there was 13 trophies, something like that, in this era, because you have basically played the system, then you need to be punished. Same with Manchester City. Same with anybody that does it. And the one question that I keep asking, and I don't want to pat myself on the back for this, but you'll struggle to find a fan channel who's been banging on about this subject as long as I have. I've been very consistent on my beliefs on this. Who's looking out for football? Because, again, it doesn't take a genius to say the biggest number. It doesn't take a genius to spend other people's money. It doesn't take a genius to overpay on transfers or overpay on wages. It doesn't take a genius to do that. It takes a genius to build up a football club into a sustainable business, to continuously challenge, which is why you see football happening in cycles. So, the Premier League right now has not got a very squeaky clean product on its hands on the outside. If you look at this, Everton could potentially face a points deduction. Manchester City have 115 charges hanging over their head. And now there's this Chelsea stuff. Then you've got the Saudi takeover of Newcastle, and you just ask yourself, does anybody actually care about the sport? If you remove people having their pockets lined, or people getting nice little side gigs and all the grubby shit, who's there fighting for the good of the sport? Who's looking after and making sure that these clubs are going to be around in 10 or 15 years' time, 20 years' time, 50 years' time? This is why I keep saying to people over and over and over again, please drop the tribalism. If you care about the sport, if you profess to love football, you need to look past your own club. You need to look at it with the eyes of the next generation. And I think our sport's been destroyed by greed, by corporate manipulation and bullshit. And we, the fans, need to try and take it back. Because without us, which we found out during the Super League and during COVID, without fans, football's fuck all. There is no product. We need to remember that. They need to remember that. So again, I'm going to ask a very simple question. Who's looking out for football? Because I certainly don't feel that the Premier League are doing all they can to make it transparent. I certainly don't feel like anybody who gets away with these things gets away with it because they're innocent. It feels like we've got deeper pockets than you. And if that's the answer, then we need to rephrase the question. That's my take on it. I'm sick of it. It's destroying the game. And if you're willing to accept that, okay, maybe your club's owned by somebody for nefarious reasons, but you don't really care because they're bringing money to the club, they're bringing improved stuff to the area, then you're part of the fucking problem, in my eyes. And I'll never back down on that, ever. I want football to be sustainable and to be transparent and to be honest and not to be corrupted by money. You're going to say, I know, Craig, football's destroyed already. And I guess somewhat, yes. In some ways it is. But it doesn't mean we all just turn our back on it. It doesn't mean we all just give up and say, well, that's the end of it, sure. It's our sport. Remember that. It's our sport. Don't forget to check out Top of the League. Yes, thank you, Mark, for that. Why hasn't any club or league made an issue of Abramovich forgiving his loan? Fritz Frank, I asked that at the time. How was that just okay? Like, to the best of my understanding, for the entire 19 years or so of the Roman Abramovich era at Chelsea Football Club, they lost on average £900,000 a week. For, again, however long he owned it, whether it was 17, 18, 19 years. £900,000 a week. So then we, the football public, what happens then, Fitz? They lose that owner, and we're thinking, okay, well, like you've rightly said, what the fuck happened to that there? And then, how come Todd Bowley comes in and spends £1 billion, £1 billion in a year? We've not seen that. We've not seen that from Manchester City and their nouveau riche owners. We've not seen it from PSG. But we get spoken to like we're thick. And, oh, this is okay because Simon Jordan on TalkSport says it's okay. No, it isn't. We all see it for what it is. Bullshit. There's no way that a club like Chelsea generate enough that they can realistically spend £1 billion in 1 year. After decades of big expenditure and grubby money. So, it's nonsense. And again, everybody thinks football fans are thick. Everybody above us thinks that they will just accept any old shite. Like, look at Liverpool as an example, right? Liverpool is sold around the world for the cop, for the banners, for the flags, for the atmosphere. And that vision is used in marketing all around the world. But then one year you wake up and you see that they're looking to make people have licenses for the banners and the flags. And they're looking to put barriers up to stop people doing these things that they happily spend and make money off the club on. Why? It's weird. We all know Manchester City and Chelsea. We know the Premier League has taken backhanders, so it's not going to happen. I don't know if anyone's taken a backhander. I can't say anyone's taken a backhander because I don't know if anyone's taken a backhander. But here's what pisses me off. So you've got governing bodies, be they UEFA, the FA, FIFA, Premier League, whomever. Why is it that we always see when they make a decision, some other fucker is able to overturn it? So let's say UEFA charge a club. The Court of Arbitration for Sport somehow overturns this. What is the point of having these governing bodies? What is the point of having them at the head of the football pyramid if they don't have the power to enforce their own rules? What good is it? What good is talking about FFP if we constantly see people getting away with it? And here's one that really got to me in the last while. So apparently a lot of UEFA statutes stop stuff being investigated that's 3 or more years old. That doesn't work then if it's taken you 3 years to look into it, does it? Manchester City got away with that UEFA stuff not because they were innocent, because it was time barred. And Manchester City, to the best of my knowledge, hired the people that helped write the FFP rules for UEFA. So, do they even have an interest in looking after their product? If their own rules are what's letting clubs away with it? In a time where these underhanded tactics are very, very, very well hidden and money moved around. So shouldn't the statute change? If it's going to take longer to investigate, shouldn't we rewrite those rules? If the transparencies become far more complicated, shouldn't we have longer procedures or change the rules? So as I've said before, clubs have to be punished and take it. I don't see what the point of UEFA and FIFA being undermined is. If they're supposed to be the governing body, then let them govern. Barry, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Barry Seaton, mate. Appreciate you. Would a salary cap work in football? I don't know. Because, like we've just seen, let's say, for instance, we had a salary cap. Do any of us really, as we sit here right now, believe that clubs won't find a way to get around that salary cap? We've seen reports, and I have to say reports, that Mancini was paid some of his money for his City contract in a separate deal, in a separate account. Again, don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen the reports. I've seen the emails to say that Sheikh Mansour is going to be sending money through various companies to pay for some of the Manchester City sponsorship deals. That is coming in from Abu Dhabi friendly businesses that are all tied up in some way. Look at the corporates and some of the companies that Manchester City have had sponsorship deals with. Some of them are Alamy stock images and aren't actually reflective of people or have little to no trading history. It's football. It's sport. And it's being politicised and bastardised by people for reasons that has nothing to do with sport. Because they want to show the country off in a positive light. I hate it. I hate it all. It really just... It doesn't make football about sport. It doesn't make it about integrity. It doesn't make it about doing the right things. The whole idea of the football pyramid is supposed to be exactly that. The dream's achievable for everybody. From the top to the bottom. You can find your way like Luton Town did. From the Premier League to non-league back up to the Premier League. That is a beautiful thing. But if you have people coming in and making it a closed shop by outbidding everybody and hiring the best lawyers and putting political influence on top of things and investing in... And look, let's be honest about this. Look at London as a prime example. During the last 15 years, we've seen a lot of Russian money, a lot of oligarch money flood into London. Then, when that money was suddenly bad, then all of a sudden we've seen a lot of money from the likes of Dubai, a lot of money from Saudi Arabia, a lot of money from Qatar, a lot of money from Abu Dhabi, a lot of investment in corporate infrastructure, like green energy in the UK. 10 billion, I believe, from, I think it's an Abu Dhabi company. It all stinks, and it all is done to somewhat tie the hands or muddy the waters between politics and football. It's shit, isn't it? Like, I'm not clever enough to look into this. I'm not clever enough to figure all this out. But there are journalists out there that are doing really, really, really good work, but are being met every opportunity with court injunctions, dead ends, and people working very hard to make sure that the stuff remains private and doesn't come to the public. Okay, let me just go on. I've loads more still to get through, by the way. We've only just scratched the surface of tonight's stream. Been watching you for some time now. You talk a lot of sense, mate. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I can't say this enough, mate, but I love the game. It means more to me than almost anything else in my life outside of my family, because it's been a part of my life since I've been able to run, since I've been able to kick a ball. I've been in and around football. Cantor said, thank you for your super chat. To state the obvious, but if Chelsea and Everton, let's say, get a points deduction and City escape without, then we know 100% sports corrupt. Well, I don't think we can make a sweeping statement like that, Cantors, because everybody will have due process. But I guess the question is there an appetite to make an example of, let's say, a Manchester City? Is there an appetite for the Premier League to open up a can of worms where maybe one of the clubs was using financial irregularities? Is that a good look for brand Premier League? Is that a good look for English football? Will that destroy the huge financial machine that we have in the Premier League? I hope the answer to that question is that it won't, and that they will, because there are 19 other clubs in the Premier League that form part of that league, and I think everybody's interest needs to be served. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and become a member of what is the best channel around. Thank you, Cantors. Would you prefer Andre or Frankie de Jong as our 6? De Jong. Gotta be honest. With De Jong, I love the Dutch connection. Obviously, you've got Linders, we've got Van Dijk, we've got Cody Gakpo, got Ryan Gravenberch. I won't lie, mate, I do love the idea of that Dutch connection. He's obviously, for somebody still relatively young, and extremely accomplished and experienced young player at the highest level. But I just don't see his wages being feasible at Liverpool. So I think Andre is far more achievable. But I can't lie, if you offered me Frankie de Jong at Liverpool, I would very much be happy. When was the last time I've been to Anfield? It's about 2 years ago, Omar. Yeah, I catch 22 with the channel. Channel starts to do well. It's a business. You've got employees. Do you take a day off to go to a game and lose a fortune for your company? It's a tough one, mate. And I'm trying to figure out a way to right that balance and get over. I was supposed to go to a game last year. I had tickets for the Real Madrid game at Anfield. But for reasons I don't want to go back over again, threats, basically, that didn't happen. And my dream of seeing Liverpool Real Madrid at Anfield was dashed because my son didn't want me to go after the threats. So if this is a case of get off your armchair, go to more games, I've been there, mate. I've done it. I've gone through this fucking conversation so many times. And people say it like all of us could just go to Anfield tomorrow. Like, tickets are freely available as well. Trust me, I've spent many years tracking back and forth on ferries and flights over to Liverpool games, back and forth, being fleeced like everybody else, paying travel agents fees, overpaying for tickets. But now I have my own family, I've got my own. I think of Anfield Agenda as kind of like an international supporters union, albeit a very independent international supporters union. So that's what we've always tried to do here, is be a voice and be a platform for people who feel a bit marginalised, people who, like me, if I'm being honest, have somewhat been looked down upon over the years because we didn't fall out of our mother's vagina in a Liverpool postcode. That's wrangled with me quite a bit. Matthew, thank you, mate, for your super sticker or super chat. You didn't put a comment in, appreciate you. Guessing you'd go to the Europa League final when we get there. Nope. My plan for that is to, if please go we get there, is to do a live show and we all watch it together, and we have a night in Dublin in a venue where we celebrate it all, because I'd rather be with the Anfield Agenda community. Of course I'd love to go to the game, but when I say this community means a lot to me, I'm not talking out my arse. It comes first. And my loyalty is to you guys. Omar said, I understand, brother. Yesterday you were speaking about those two players from Benfica. I think it's a 200 million clause in total for them. I don't think it's going to happen. So, I'm not very up on the João Neves signing, or the potential of that one, Omar. I don't know all that much about him, if I'm being honest, other than he's 19, plays for Benfica, and he's a holding midfielder. But I got a little bit excited when I seen the Antonio Silva comments, because he's a centre-back that I was told a few years ago to look out for as being one of the best young centre-backs coming through. So again, I don't know how feasible or reasonable it is to think that he could be the answer. I agree what you say. Probably either of those two be very expensive. And look, the last player we bought from Benfica, we had to pay a pretty penny for. So yeah, they don't feel like Liverpool type signings now under FSG. But I think what really threw a spanner in the works for me, Omar, was the Caicedo bid. Because that was very like, what? No, I did not expect that. I did not expect John W. Henry to sanction a potential £115 million deal for Caicedo. So that's kind of just warped my brain a little bit, mate, because now I don't know what to expect a lot of the time. Vulgar. Fuck you. Simple. If you're that prissy, do one. I curse, so what? Big deal. Get over it. Would you rather I'm on here preaching hate, or influencing young people to do negative things, be misogynistic, be over-sexualise women, be racist? No. I curse. So what? If that's vulgar, then what fucking planet are you living on? What world do you live in where we're all going around making daisy change and everybody speaks properly and eloquently? That's not the real world. I speak how I speak to my friends. I speak how I speak in everyday life. If you don't like it, fuck off. I don't care. I am who I am, and I'm not going to apologise for being me. Me has built this community. Me has got people tuning in to share their thoughts on Liverpool because they've gotten to know me as a human, as a person over the years. So if a bit of vulgarity is too much from you, then go hide behind the back of your sofa with the rest of the pussies who have a very warped sense of the world. And I'll carry on being me. Weirdo. Vulgarity. The fuck? Vulgarity. I don't know what this one's about. Sorry, I'm very confused. Sorry, I'm confused on one of the comments there. There's nothing to do with me, so I'll move past it. Watching from New Zealand, Anfield Agenda is like my family. Thank you, Philippa. Appreciate that. Look, nobody gets to tell me who to be. I'm me. Warts and all. Don't like it, I get it. But I'm not asking you to do anything. You're here of your own accord. Okay, some more comments to go through. Oh, this one. We haven't spoken about this guy yet. And I've got to be honest, again, I'm looking for your help here. So, there's a report coming out of the Evening Standard that said Liverpool, Chelsea, and a couple of other clubs are looking at Corinthians player Gabriel Moscardo. They say he would cost about 26 million from Corinthians, and nothing is likely going to happen until after the presidential elections at the club on November the 25th. So I don't know anything about that guy. Never really seen his name mentioned before. So if you've got any thoughts on Mr. Moscardo, feel free to let us know. Brett says, consider yourself told, Mr. Vulgarity Man. See, people make the mistake, Brett, of hearing me swear and thinking that I'm not an articulate, intelligent fella. Make no mistake about it. I'm a very deep thinker. I'm very alert. I can very much turn a phrase, and I could turn into a conversation like that where I speak in a very eloquent manner. But it's not who I am. And I don't front up, and I don't lie. I show you who I am. And my actions over the course of my time on this channel and my sincerity speaks for itself. So, again, if a bit of swearing, you shouldn't be on the internet if you're worried about swearing. Honest to God, like, it's not the place for you. He's played 3 games. Why the heck are we linked with a player page? I have no idea, mate. I don't know anything about him. That was in my notes today because it popped up in the Evening Standard and Liverpool and Chelsea both linked to the kid. So, I don't know. We seem to be linked with a lot of South American moves in the last while, actually. A lot of Brazilian players, a lot of Brazilian clubs. Liverpool linked with players. Is there a reason for that, do we reckon, lately? Or is it to do with the Brexit rules, maybe? Maybe football's a bit more... maybe work permits are a bit easier now. I don't know. Maybe it is the Brexit stuff. Maybe that's the one slightly positive outcome from Brexit. I don't know, but we seem to be linked with a lot. Have you seen the loaded December 23 Saudi fight card? Yes. Yeah, see, it's great. But rather than having AJ and Wilder fighting on the same card, we want to see them fighting each other. That's what the boxing fans want. But look, hopefully we get there. Hopefully we see Usyk Fury, which is supposed to be an announcement tomorrow. Press conference with a date and all for that fight. We want to see AJ Wilder. Of course we do, be a great fight. And I think, look, a lot of us would like to see Francis Ngannou have another heavyweight fight against a top 10, top 15 fighter as well to see how he'd get on. So it's definitely interesting times in the boxing world. Being honest, it's sad to see a lot of the stuff move away from America and the UK over to Saudi for these fights because, and again, I'm trying to be honest, the fights that I've seen, the atmosphere has been shite. The events, magnificent. Saudi have put on unbelievable events. The production value, the publicity of them, absolute, you couldn't fault it. Tremendous. But the atmosphere has just not been conducive to what you would expect with a boxing event. I've been fortunate to be to some. I went to AJ Usyk at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Wow. Hairs on the back of your neck stuff, atmosphere incredible. I went to see Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron, first fight card back in Dublin for many years. Hairs on the back of your neck stuff. I've not had the privilege of going to an event in America yet, but I hope to get to Vegas or Madison Square Garden for a fight, and I expect the same thing. So for all the good stuff, again, about the production of the fights in Saudi, the sport will die unless we get the proper fandom, and it just doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't feel the same to me. I'm confused by this Mbappe stuff. It's still going on. There's no way we get him. There is a chance we get him. I mean, I look. Sometimes I get a bit frustrated and I say I've said this stuff many times, but I guess that's stupidly arrogant of me because, I don't know if we have the same audience tonight as we had last night or vice versa. But there is a world in which Kylian Mbappe to Liverpool is possible. That world consists of Liverpool selling Salah, though. And that's the part of this conversation that, of course, is horrible to talk about, because that's the elephant in the room now at Liverpool. What the hell happens with Mo? And I've got to say, I'm a little bit concerned about it, because I would have hoped that with Mo's form and the numbers that Liverpool be looking to extend. You know, it's almost common sense to say, give the man a couple of more years. Like, if he wants to be in Europe, and Fabrizio has said that, oh no, it was David Ornstein, excuse me, said that he's hearing murmurings that Salah still feels like he's got, you know, some, I don't say unfinished business, but he's still got enough to give at Europe at the top level. If that's the case, then Liverpool need to get it sorted. Or is he going to leave? Is he going to go in the summer? And I don't know if anybody right now knows the answer to that definitively, outside of maybe the club or Salah, but it feels like it's almost like this thing we're not speaking about, but we know is there. And if you speak and say, well, if Salah gets sold, people go, he's a legend, you can't talk about selling Salah. But you kind of have to, because we don't know what's happening. If we knew, we'd all say, brilliant, give him a new deal. I think most of us would say that. But imagine we lost out on Mbappe because we continued to try and do the Salah thing, and then Salah left, and then we didn't look at Mbappe. It just felt to me like another stupidly missed opportunity. So, yeah, I'd like us to know what the hell is going on with Mo, because he's idolised by all of us. He looks very happy and content on the football pitch. His form, his physique, his everything is perfect as it always is. It's just a very surreal thing, because any other player we'd be negotiating with at this point. So we mentioned Trent coming into 2 years to go at the end of this season. They'll start chatting with him about a new deal. It just feels weird that there isn't one about Liverpool and Mo at the minute. It's either all really hush-hush, or it's already been decided one way or the other. It just feels odd. Are you a fan of Xabi Alonso being next manager after Klopp? I'm a fan of the idea. 2.5 years, a long time in football though, and you know, if Xabi Alonso stayed at Leverkusen for that time, you know, continue to do what he's doing, which is a great job, absolutely, you know, 100%. I'd be far more comfortable with him than Gerrard. We missed out on Jude, can't miss out on Mbappe, said Colin. Look, if Real want Mbappe, we're probably not going to get Mbappe. I think, you know, most of us agree with that. But they look like they're looking at a different direction. And they've got Endrick still to come in. That deal's agreed, paid for. They've got Bellingham. They've just given Rodrigo a new deal. There's Vinny Jr. They've got Camavinga, Tchouaméni. You know, they're rebuilding a young team. And I don't know if Mbappe's part of that. If they can afford Mbappe, or if they've looked at it and gone, well, we can put all our eggs in the Mbappe basket, or we can bring in two fullbacks. And I've got a really, really strong feeling they're going to make a play for what's his name? How am I drawing a blank? No, not Alfonso Davies. Musiala. Jamal Musiala. I've got a feeling that they're going to try and make that midfield Camavinga, Bellingham, Musiala. Which, if you think about it, is a pretty damn scary midfield rebuild if they can do that. Would you do a boxing watch-along? So I'm going to be honest and say what I've said all along, mate. Selfishly, that's the one thing I've kind of tried to keep from myself. So I can... Because I don't get to watch football these days, really, with the sound on. So boxing, I've always just kind of kept that as the thing I just indulge myself with. Do you think Mbappe suits our dressing room? It's impossible to know, Libby, because, like, have I seen the rumours about him being a destabilising factor? Yeah, of course I have. Have you seen the diva talk? Yeah, but you know what? I heard negative stuff about Daniel Sturridge before he came to Liverpool as well, and Daniel Sturridge was one of the most charming, friendly, supportive of younger players, very, very good lads, and it was completely at odds with the vision that I'd heard beforehand. So we don't know Kylian Mbappe. You know, we don't. We've never spoke with him. But I feel that if it got to the point where Liverpool were signing him or trying to sign him, the gaffer would have looked into that. The gaffer would have sat down and the gaffer would have got the right vibes from the player. Because we know Jurgen has removed players like Sacco, and others from the club who have, let's say, taken the piss a little bit. So he's big on the dressing room vibe and stuff. So if Klopp okays it, then, you know, I'm okay with it. How many comments about the names of Man City's corporate sponsors? In what sense? I don't know. Is the question the fact that a lot of them are fairly unknown or recent companies with little trading history, some of them, and seemingly never-ending budgets, or that they're very Abu Dhabi friendly with regards to all being tied up together? I don't know what you mean by the question. But look, to me, the whole lot of it stinks, mate. From top to bottom, all of it. Look, I want Mbappe, but I wouldn't sell Salah for him. So, here's where you hate me. I would. And I'm going to say again what I don't think other people will come above and say. But I think deep down a lot of people agree with me. So we have somebody heading for 32 years of age. And you can talk as much as you want about Mo having another 2 or 3 years. We all agree. But we also all agree that in 2 or 3 years it's bye-bye Mo, no money for Liverpool, and we're still left with the same problem of finding a replacement. So nobody disagrees of the calibre of the man we have and the numbers that he's done. But if we take off our emotional hats for a minute and look at it from a business and a sporting perspective, and you look at Kylian Mbappe as a 25, 26-year-old in their prime, who Liverpool could bring in, albeit not on a free, you know, because there'd be a signing bonus. You've got somebody there who, if he wanted to move at 28, 29, you could still command a pretty damn big fee for. If it didn't work out after a year or two, you could still command a lot of money for. And if it did work out, and if he stays at the club and he falls in love with Anfield and everything is great, you've got a player who has 5, 6, 7 years left at the top. And that's for me where great managers do their thing. That's for me where a great manager or a leader at the top of a club says, we've got to draw this line. It might be unpalatable. It might not be what we all want initially, but somebody has to think longer term and somebody has to think rationally. And if we think rationally, I think the argument of a 25, 26-year-old potential Ballon d'Or winner on a free transfer for, yes, big money, but we can afford it, versus somebody who we love and is doing it and has continued to do it, but has an expiry date. It doesn't sound sexy and it's a tough thing to say, but I think it's the right business decision. That's my take on it. Which is, again, it's all grubby because we all love Mo, and it feels like people think if you say that, it's like, oh, well, you're disregarding. I'm not, but I'm being realistic about the future. I'm being realistic about a rebuild. I'm being realistic about 3, 4, 5 years down the line. And if we ended up losing Salah in, let's say, 2.5 years for free, what are we going to do then? You're still going to have to solve that problem. So look at the great managers in the past. Look at the Sir Alex Fergusons of this world. Knowing when to move on your stars and making those unpalatable decisions, that's leadership for me. Damn, a Haaland Mbappe rivalry, the whole world watching. Well, yeah, absolutely. Why can't we have Mo Salah and Mbappe in the same team? Genuinely, I don't think we could afford it. And I mean that sincerely, and I've no interest in being on Team FSG in that one, trust me. But we couldn't afford it. You know, you're talking about probably 2.5 million quid a week in wages there. And I think every club can have one icon and other players in the dressing room understand it. So Liverpool broke their wage structure to give Mohamed Salah a deal that nobody else is getting because of what he did. And the players looked at him and went, yeah, he's the leader. Mo's the guy. He is that fella. So I think you can have one of them. And again, I think if Mbappe came in, I think the players of the club would go, well, shit, that's Mbappe. Wow. Okay. He's going to be on more money than us, because you don't view these guys as regulars. You know, these are the creme de la creme. These are the chosen few, the handful of superstars that transcend the sport into hero worship almost. So I think they understand that. And if anybody deserved the wage structure broken, it was Mohamed Salah. You know, nobody at Liverpool in our fan base felt like that was the wrong decision. He deserved that. He earned that. And I'm happy he got it and he's here. If we lose or draw at the City, is that the league gone? No, not at all. The beauty about this league for me this season, Arian, is I think because it's more competitive, a loss or two isn't the end of the world. So City are going through a really tough group of games now. They've got us. I think they had, obviously, Chelsea. I think they've got Spurs coming up as well and a few other tough games. So I don't think one loss is the end of the world. But it would lay down a big marker if you could get a result there. I think it would be a big psychological boost to the team. Like if we left the Etihad with a 2-1 win, say, I would imagine that would just reinforce the belief inside that dressing room that, we can do this. Okay, maybe we've a relatively new team, but there's something here. So, yeah. I just have so many exciting thoughts about this season. I think we're set up for maybe the best Premier League season we've seen since its inception in 92. It's, you've got real top clubs there. Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Spurs doing really well, Chelsea with a resurgence. It's going to be interesting, and I can't remember the last time we had a multi-club title race. So we'll end the poll with 1,750 votes. And it was that says 50-49, but there's always 1% missing. It was a 50-50. We asked, is Davies realistic for Liverpool? And you couldn't be split. It was 50-50. And there you see, that gives you a little view as a content creator, right? So if I came in with a story that said Liverpool are going to sign up, or Liverpool can sign Alfonso Davies, I already know that half my audience doesn't believe me. Or if I came in with a story that said Liverpool can't sign him, I know that half my audience thinks otherwise. So sometimes we can't win in these scenarios, which is why I go with the way I do of bringing you the stories and discussing them rather than trying to ram my thoughts down your throat. Right, I'm going to call it a night. This has been brilliant though. Thank you for tonight. I've really enjoyed it. And you guys showing up right the way through this international break is keeping me sane. So I hope that I see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 8:30, right here. I'll be here. I hope you're here. Do please go over and check out Top of the League. I've put a video up there on my take on the Chelsea situation. Adam streamed earlier on as well. We'd love you to hit that subscribe button over there. But yeah, again, thank you for everything, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Oh, the Boston show's happening. I knew I forgot something. Boston show's in the books. How did I forget that? Before I go, sorry. Shit, how did I forget? I reminded myself before the show to talk about this, and I forgot. The Boston show is happening. It's going to be taking place on Friday, what date is it? March 22nd. Friday, March 22nd. It's going to take place at the House of Blues in Boston. We will have information on when tickets will go on sale and all that kind of stuff. But it is booked. The flights are booked. We're going to Boston. Anfield Agenda live at the House of Blues, March 22nd in Boston. And I'll let you guys know more details as and when we have them. But yeah, that's where we're at the minute. Sorry I forgot about that one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.